Go live. There we go. What's up, guys? This is another episode of Off the Post, and I'm your host, DJ Redcap. And today is a fun day because we're going to do a lot of cool things on here. No, we're just doing an NWSL preview. But we also have a special guest with us, so this should be a bit exciting. Oh, you see, you're already hearing the woohoos and stuff. People are just getting excited for no reason. It's about to be good. So I'll go through with the panelists. They can tell you what they've been up to lately, since it's been a bunch of games and other things they've been going to. As we know, Jen's car has over 200,000 miles probably now from all the traveling she's been doing. And then Karen's been watching a ton of games. And then we'll let our special guest introduce herself, all right? So let's go with Jen. What's been up, Jen? What you been up to?
Not much since the show on Monday. I went to the Costa Rica game over the weekend. We talked about that on Monday's show, and other than that, I start class in like 2 weeks, so it's just been reading about like mitochondrial gene markers and crap. Nothing fantastic.
Right. Sounds like a pretty boring, chill life, right? Nonetheless. Thank goodness.
I guess. It's life.
Karen, what's been up?
I'm a zombie right now. I had 5 closing shifts in a row, so I'm like barely awake trying to drink water right now. But other than that, I'm totally stoked. I'm excited. So I'm here and I'm awake.
Good. I'm glad you're awake. You should get yourself some coffee or something. You know, it'd be nice, right? No, it's a bad idea. Okay, energy drinks. My bad. And we'll let our guest introduce herself. How have you been doing, Megan? Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm good. I'm actually home right now in Chicago. It worked out really well after our game. We got a little bit of a break, so I got to come home and hang out with my family and friends. So I've just been doing that. Yeah.
Nice. And I know one of our panelists, actually, Graham, was at that game, and he said, if anyone scored a goal against us, he'd be glad it was you. So he sends his best regards for beating his team.
That's hard to do to let down your guard for the other team, but hey, that's awesome.
All right, guys, as you know. Oh, what's it?
Counted.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh.
Yeah.
But as you know, guys, if you have anything you want to say to us, which I know you will, you can send us your questions with the hashtag #WhatSoTalk. We're just going to do, like I said, a preview of the NWSL since we didn't have any games this week, other than I think it was that one game. You guys already covered it, though, that CRS game in Spirit, so we won't go over that again. We'll look ahead to the other games coming up, and then we'll talk about the U.S. Women's National Team game a bit later. So let's jump into that. So the first game we are going to discuss is Houston versus Seattle. Houston is 6th place right now with 20 points, and Seattle is in first, and Karen's 33 points. So we'll let you start first, Karen. Tell us a little bit of what you think is going to happen with this game with Seattle and Houston.
Well, that Carly Lloyd free kick yesterday made me a little nervous, I'm not going to lie. But besides that, I think the last game that Seattle played against Houston, they did a good job shutting down Carly Lloyd, Morgan Bryan. If they can do that again, I think that they've got the game in the bag pretty much. It's going to be a really exciting game, though, because I think that Houston is not going to be hanging back as much as they did the last game. So I think it's going to be a pretty even matchup. But with that being said, Seattle's bench, I think, is a lot deeper than Houston Dash's bench. And I really think that they're going to pull through 3-1 to Seattle, I think.
Nice. Let's go with you, Jen. So Houston's been kind of, I guess, struggling a bit. Would you say that, Jen? What do you think Houston needs to do to win this game?
I think if Houston's going to win this one, they really need to find some chemistry. They've had some issues with yellow cards, as we've seen. Players going in and out for either injuries or national team players. So I think they really need to find some chemistry. Maybe that Morgan Bryan, Carly Lloyd combination in the midfield will do well for them. I know when we played them, Morgan Bryan was out, so it was a lot easier for us to shut down Carly Lloyd on the Spirit side, just because there wasn't that combo for them to work for in the midfield. So I think, they can kind of use that to their advantage. I don't believe Carly Lloyd and Morgan Bryan will be playing in that match. I think the national teamers are out. But if they can still find some form of that kind of combination, I think they could win it. Unfortunately, that being said, I don't think that's going to happen. I think this one's going to go to Seattle. and I'm going to go probably 2-1.
All right. So, Megan, can you tell us a little bit about playing both of these teams? First with Seattle and Houston, what you've seen from each team?
Yeah, I mean, Seattle was kind of a long time ago, but looking back on that, I remember in the first half, saying in my head, this is a really good team. They can move the ball extremely well. They've got some really key players that we have yet to play against too. So I think it'll be interesting to incorporate those guys into the mix, all their stud World Cup players and stuff. So I think they're just a challenge to play against. And then so is Houston. I mean, they have some really fast-paced players up top. I mean, Kealia Ohai is really challenging to defend. She has creative runs and she's intelligent. And then playing against Carly was a challenge. She's really good with the ball and she's just all over the place. So both teams are set with great players, strong players, and both move the ball well. So they were tough matches on both ends, for sure.
Yeah, as you said, in Houston, they're so fast up top. It's just unbelievable. It seems like that's what they do. They just get the ball and go with Ohai. And even, is it McCarty, I believe it is?
McCarty, yeah.
Yeah, they're just so fast, and then they just cross the balls in nonstop. So that has to be tough as a defender dealing with that. But right now, it's just weird with Houston. They're coming off 3 losses. They were a team I really was high on this year, and they're coming off the 3 losses, the last one coming from Seattle. And I feel like they need this win more than anyone right now. They're sitting 5 points back, really, of that final playoff spot. Portland has even leapfrogged them right now, but the playoffs are still within range. It's a big game. It's at home. It's on cable TV. So, but for still, I just don't have Houston winning it. I'm with you guys, kind of 3-1 with Seattle. Seattle's been as expected this year. Without national teamers, they're still a good team. I mean, look, Kim Little and all those other pieces they have. They're just a tough team overall. And Laura Harvey just gets the pieces she needs and just plugs them right in no matter what. So I think Seattle's going to keep chugging away at, or moving forward in the table. If they can go any higher than first, maybe 3-1 Seattle. Now let's move on to a team that I love the most. Oh yeah, Sky Blue, and we're going to talk about Sky Blue playing a team that some of you like and some of you don't. Portland. Oh, I think this is Kieran's second favorite team, if I'm correct. So we're going to go on with this game, and we'll start with Jen Carl first. What do you think Portland needs to do to win this game?
Yeah, again, I don't know if the national team players are going to be playing or not. I know Krieger and Harris are not going to be home for us this weekend, but I don't know if that's just because we're on break. So I'm going to say that they're not for the sake of this discussion, in which case it's kind of the same thing as Houston. They need to find chemistry. They need to find something that's going to click there, and that's what they were missing a lot of for most of the season. If the national teamers are there, great, because then you've got Tobin Heath. We saw Alex Morgan playing again yesterday. She scored a goal yesterday. So they'll definitely bring an added element to that. But for me, I'm actually sorry, DJ. I'm going to pick Portland for this one. I know. I'm sorry.
Always.
I'm going to go. I know. I'm going to be there in a Portland jersey. What do you want from me?
I'll be a Sky Blue jersey. All right, continue. How do you pick them? What's your crazy score? Give it to me.
I'm actually going to go the same score I went for Houston. I'm going to go 2-1 for Portland.
All right. Well, sucks that you're wrong right now, but nonetheless, moving on. Karen, how do you see Sky Blue going about winning this game, if anyway?
Actually, I picked Sky Blue to win because I just feel like Sky Blue and Portland have kind of had this opposite thing happen where Portland started up really well, Sky Blue started kind of on the bottom, and all of a sudden Sky Blue has been starting to kind of make some leaps forward. I think Sam Kerr has a lot to do with that. And Portland has been dropping a lot. They have been dropping the ball, so to speak, because honestly they have so much talent on their squad. I don't know what's going on, the chemistry there or something, but they're just not playing up to the standards that I know that their fans have been looking for. So I honestly think that Sky Blue is going to keep moving forward and Portland is going to keep moving backward. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased or anything. It's just that's just historically what Portland has been doing in this season so far. So My guess is a Sky Blue win, 1-0.
I like her already. Megan, tell us some impact players we should look forward to on Portland and then on Sky Blue.
I think there's a lot on both teams, but they've been evolving, so it's different every game. You know, we played in, they've had different key players. So this next time we play Portland, I think, you know, it's always like the same matchup in the front line. I think they're tricky. I mean, you know, I'm not really sure who I'd pinpoint as like the toughest players as a team. Like, it's kind of a toss-up. I mean, it's just going to see who's going to come to play that day. So
Yep.
I don't really know who I'd worry too much about, but I know as a whole, if they come together in that moment,
Yep.
you know, they're both great teams. So it just depends on who wants to step up that day. But like I said, too, it's an evolving team. So they've had more players. Portland's had tons of changes since the last time we played them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah, I think that's been the biggest thing. It seems like the changes. It seems like since Tobin Heath's been injected to the team, it's helped them a little bit, though. I mean, Portland, as much as they aren't at the top or where they think they should be, second or third because of all their talent, they've had a turnaround a little bit. Other than that loss to, I think, FC Kansas City a week or so ago, they're now in 5th place with 22 points, so they're there. But it's not like they could be doing more, I think, with all the talent they have. That's what a lot of us, I think, feel like. What you were saying, Karen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's going to be weird because Sky Blue, I mean, yeah, the playoffs aren't there, but I feel like it'll be fun to ruin somebody else's chances. So let's go be a spoiler and just give this team a real tough time, you know, bottom of the table, just messing up everyone else atop us. But I really like how the team has developed this year because it seems like it's been two different teams. Beginning of the year, it was totally different than when all the national teams and Sam Kerr especially and KO and all them came in and just really changed us. And the rookies as well. This is a big thing with our team. Our rookies have started to play much better now. So it's a team that I've just enjoyed to watch and watch them evolve. And I'm looking more forward to next season anyway to see how this team.
You've got Cameron too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's been unbelievable all the same. She's been making.
Cylinders.
And like Caitlin Ford's one of my favorite players now. So I guess I have to predict the score, though. So I'm going to be nice since I want to still be friends with Jen Carl. And I'm going to go 1-1.
All right.
Yeah, see? I can still be friends with you guys and not pick against your teams.
No.
No. All right, moving forward, though, we're going to talk about FC Kansas City versus Boston. Now, this is a game where people would say it's kind of a mismatch because of how well FC Kansas City's been playing and how Boston's been struggling for most of the year. We'll start with you first, Megan. What are your thoughts on just playing against those teams this year?
Well, looking back at the Boston game, it was a struggle of a game. I mean, I felt like we should have won that one, but Steph McCaffrey and Chrissy Moose are great players, and they're a good dynamic together, so they were definitely tough to play against. And Simon was also a handful up top. So they have the pieces they need to score, but, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. And then Kansas, right? Is that the other?
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah.
They're a great team, and they're only getting better. So they move the ball extremely well, and they have great players. So I think Kansas is really tough to play against, and I'm really looking forward to playing them this Thursday. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be a good matchup. We'll talk about that last, though. That's going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah.
Karen, your thoughts on Boston this season? Like she said, they got the players. We were talking about even before the show. They got some, you know, they got the Australian and then the other players. They're a tough matchup. But what do you see them doing in this game?
But their rookies have been awesome this season, even though they might be at the bottom of the table. But for a team that's full of like non-women's national team players, they have been doing pretty good, I think. They're also one of those teams in the league right now that are really unpredictable. You could have them lose by a bunch of goals to one team, and then the next game they're going to beat somebody like 2-1 or something like that who's at the top of the table. So it's really been, I don't even know what to think about Boston half the time. But I do think that Kansas, I think this season, Holiday and Rodriguez have been not as like cohesive as they were last season. But even without that, they've been having some really good really good work with like Hagan up top and bringing Heather O'Reilly onto the team. With those two up there, they've been really good, and I think Rodriguez, towards the end of the season, is probably going to find her stride. I don't know if she's going to be playing in this game, but probably not. But I think Kansas is going to win, and I think they're going to win probably 2-0.
Okay, so you were nice on Boston. Good job. Jen, what do you think Boston has to do to win this game?
I don't know that they can. I know that sounds terrible. Sorry, Boston fans. But it is that unpredictability factor. Granted, they did beat the Spirit. We won't talk about that, Megan.
Yeah. So, it's unfortunate.
But, yeah, I think Kansas City at this point still has something to play for. They know that they stand in a position for a playoff spot right now. They're in 4th place. They're hanging in there. They're in good contention. They still have something to play for. They know that. I think they're going to push that forward. That being said, Boston kind of has the opposite effect. I believe they're the only team to this point that has officially been eliminated. So at this point, they can kind of just let it go a little bit and have a little bit more fun. And I'm not sure which one's going to be more advantageous. But I mean, Boston, you can't count out players like Julie King. You can't count out someone like Rafinha with her speed, Kaya Simon up top. But, for me, this should be Kansas City's win, and I think I'm going to agree and go 2-0.
Yeah, I think you guys stole my notes because that's the exact score I have. But the thing is, like you said, Julie King and McCaffrey, they've been two of my favorite players to watch this whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Boston, they're a team, like I said, they had flashes, especially early now where they're kind of struggling. But they have flashes, and they surely have the building blocks for the upcoming season that these players can develop, and they might even be getting their call-ups, a couple of these players from national teams. Like McCaffrey especially, I can see her getting a call-up down the road. But it's like, sorry, Spirit fans and Megan, but I had to bring it up again. They beat the Spirit, and that shocked the world because all the panelists, I think, chose them not to win that game at all. We were just like, Spirit are just going to walk through that game and call it what it was. So that shocked all of us. So they have that ability to shock a team, so I wouldn't put it past them. But I'm not picking them. I'd never pick against FC Kansas City. Like I said, if they win 60% of their games, at least I'm right 60% of the time. So I'm going with them 2-0, and that's how I think that one's going to stand. Now let's go on to Graham's favorite team, Chicago Red Stars versus the Western New York Flash. This is the game that I will actually be at. So if you're at that game, people, you will see a red cap. If you walk over to that red cap and take it off, I will be mad. But if you walk over and shake my hand, I will be your friend. Let's talk about the game that Jen Carl, Rich, what do you think Chicago Red Stars have to do to win this game?
I think it's playing advantage to Chicago. They are playing at home, and they've been pretty spot on all season. I think people have been shocked when they've lost their couple of games. So it is definitely, people would lean for Chicago in this game to begin with. They are going to be in front of a home crowd, and again, like Kansas City, they just need to remember that they still have something to play for. They're tied with the Spirit right now at second, and they have the ability to clinch a playoff spot this week, depending on what goes on with that with the Portland game. So, yeah, they kind of need to go out there with that winning mindset, kind of try to stay out of their own heads and just play the game that they've been playing all season, and I think they'll be fine. That being said, Western New York on the other side has also been known to throw a few surprises in there. They beat us earlier on in the season. I'm pretty sure they also beat Chicago earlier on in the season. So yeah. Western New York's been known to surprise too, especially now with the addition of Michelle Heyman, who came in a couple of weeks ago. She's been phenomenal. I might have to call this one a draw. I know we all hate draws, but I might have to go 1-1 on this one.
Oh, Graham's not going to like you much. Karen, what do the Western New York Flash have to do to win this game? And don't say that, well, actually you should say it. They maybe in the second half they should play better.
Yeah. I think, and I've said this before like 1,000 times, and people are probably going to get tired of it, but if Chicago Red Stars leave Sofia Huerta off of the field for as long as they've been leaving her off of the field, I honestly think that the Flash can take advantage of that. I think Huerta has been scoring a lot of goals for them when she's on the field. And she's super dynamic, she's super fast, she's really good with the ball. If she is not on the pitch, I think Flash is probably going to score maybe 2 goals, honestly. And I'm not just saying that because I love Sofia Huerta. I feel like I keep saying stuff like that. But when she's not on the field, they just don't click. Besides that, I think Heyman has had some magic moments for New York, and I think that she's capable of putting maybe 2 in. So even though I think Chicago probably has the home field advantage, I think Western New York Flash doesn't have as much to lose. They're going to go hard. It's not going to be a tie, but I think maybe 3-2 to the Red Stars.
It is like that. And Megan, can you give us a little bit of insight on playing against Chicago and their very possession style than the Flash, who have, like you said, flashes of brilliance sometimes out there with like Sam Mewis and some of their other players.
Yeah, I mean, we just played Chicago, and they move, like you said, they move the ball really well. They're a good possession style team. So when they get in a rhythm, they're hard to stop. So if they play their game, I think they're really good. And then playing against the Flash is always tough because they're really physical and they're strong. They have a lot of those like strong-minded players. I don't know how to explain it, but they're just physical. They're willing to battle. So both teams are great teams and both really hard to play against. Chicago's hard to play at home, and Western New York is always putting up a battle and physical and just in it, really competitive. So they have great players like Sam and Abby and all those guys, and they're tough. They win head balls and they battle. So both hard games.
Yeah, because I was just thinking about the Flash. I put this in my notes. I'm sorry, Spirit fans. You guys are going to hate me a little bit. I was saying they went in there and stole points, even though I was battling with Eugene. I said they stole points. I felt bad. But the Flash, somehow they got the points. They're a team that can go into someone's home place. They might steal some points from CRS, and we'll all be kind of happy about it, just to laugh at Graham a bit. But still, I think that this could be a better game than we think it might be, because the thing is with CRS, they did hit a little rough patch of form where I think it was like the last month I looked. Within August, they hadn't won a game or something like that. So 3rd and 5th isn't that too big of a gap. So if you slip up just a little bit, you might find yourself slipping back if Portland gets hot and continues to win some games. 3 more games left in the season? But I think CRS can lock it down and get in the playoffs. It would be a travesty to see this team who was so good the whole season just bomb out the last part of the season. So I'm going to go with the Chicago Red Stars at the game I will be at, people. I'm going to go with them 2-1. So if you're there, Flash fans, please don't get mad at me as you usually do. All right. They don't like me. It's true.
So true.
It's so true. And now let's talk a little bit about the Washington Spirit. Hey, everyone can get happy now. Yeah. And the next game that's on their agenda against FC Kansas City. Oh boy, it's a tough one. We're gonna go with you first, Jen Carl, that Spirit fan, and tell us, what do your Spirit have to do to win this game?
Just kind of what we've been doing. We saw a weird kind of adjustment moving Ali Krieger up in the midfield, and I think we're still working with that a little bit. I think Mark has a good idea there that he's kind of playing with, and I hope to see that come to fruition, whatever his full plan is on that. But shout out to you, Megan, because our back line has just been fantastic all season.
Thank you.
And I think the back line has saved us from maybe a couple of losses. Granted, we are playing Kansas City at home. I believe last time we played them at home, we lost to them 3-0. So that's kind of unfortunate. But I think we're going in there with a mindset of, hey, yeah, we did lose 3-0 last time, but this time around we can turn it around. We are in second right now. We, like Chicago in our next game, have the ability to clinch a playoff spot, depending on what we do, depending on what other teams do. So I think we just need to go in there and maintain that positive attitude and, just keep doing what we've been doing. Crystal Dunn has been on fire. She just got voted 5-time Player of the Week. seriously, that's ridiculous. So, you know, our speed up top is phenomenal as well. So as long as we keep making those connections and kind of keep pressing forward, we should be good to go.
Give me a score, that Spirit fan.
I'm gonna go. Let's go 2-1 Spirit.
Ooh, nice, nice. Karen, how can FC Kansas City win this game, if they can?
I don't know if they can, honestly. I think that they're a really great team, but I think Washington Spirit has just been on fire lately. It's the combination of Crystal Dunn up top, and then you've got, like Jen Carl said, you've got that back line that has been just killing it. I don't know how many goals Washington Spirit has let in the last couple of months, but it hasn't been many. So
No.
that combined with Crystal Dunn, who has been on fire literally, I think that they're gonna run away with the game. Probably, well, maybe not run away with it, but I'd say 3-1 Spirit.
Okay.
Because I'm just saying the Kansas City front line isn't as good as the Washington Spirit back line, and it's not going to work out for them.
Well, it looks like we won't be able to have any FC Kansas City players on now. Thanks a lot, Karen. Appreciate it. All right, Megan, brag about your team for a couple of minutes. How are you guys going to win this game or go about this game?
Well, first off, thank you for the compliments about our back line. Really appreciate it. I think we have been gelling really well and, you know, just working as hard as we can to stay together and just make sure we're on the same page, and we've done that pretty well. I think the last time we played Kansas, it was a tough match, and we were, you know, it was a tough travel trip. So I think this time around we're definitely going to do it right and make sure, you know, we're all on the same page and put together, and I think we're going to come out on fire. And Crystal, like you said, 5-time Player of the Week, like that, she's just on one. So I think she's going to step up again and do big time. And we have other players who have been, you know, only getting better as the season's gone on. And add Krieger to the mix, she's done well too. So you know, I think we'll show up. We remember last time losing 3-0, and we don't want that to happen again. So yeah, I think we'll be ready this time for sure.
Sounds good. Be ready, FC Kansas City. They're coming.
We're coming.
Right. So this is a game where, like I said, I usually choose FC Kansas City 60% of the time. But the thing is, they're playing the Spirit, and it's totally different because the Spirit have been consistent all year round, and Crystal Dunn is magic. The line has been amazing. Oyster, you've been great or whatever this whole year. Like I said, Rookie of the Year candidate by far. And then it's just, oh, no problem, you'll win it. But then it's just, and it's just like they've been so fun to watch. Them and Chicago before they hit this slide have been the most consistent teams this far. So it's like you can't really choose against the Spirit in games either. And the thing is, FC Kansas City, they've always struggled. Like I said, they have the players and the pieces, but you just like never know what you're going to get sometimes. But I think this is a Spirit game, so I'm going to go 2-1 to the Spirit.
There we go.
All right.
We'll make you proud.
All right, thank you. All right, see, good job. All right, guys, so that's that with our little NWSL preview. So be sure to look out and call us out for our wrong predictions, except that Spirit prediction. We're all right about that. I feel good about that one now. But at this point in time, we're all going to ask Oyster a quick question, and she can go off and have her dinner or something, you know, so she can go about her way. So that'll be cool. So we're going to start with you first, Karen.
Okay.
First.
All right. Let me look at my notes. Okay. Was there anyone that you idolized when you were a kid? It doesn't have to be a soccer player, just anybody. It doesn't even have to be a sports person. Somebody that you wanted to emulate and become like when you grew up?
Yeah, definitely. That's a good question. There were many people I definitely looked up to. I think a big one, not a sports person, but she played at the time, my sister. I just wanted to be just like her, and whatever she did, I wanted to be a part of. So I kind of have her to thank for getting involved in sports, because without her playing soccer, like, I wouldn't play soccer. So she was always someone I looked up to, and she was super into it. So I followed her footsteps and did that. And then both my parents played sports too, so they always were great role models with, like, how to just like persevere and be dedicated and disciplined, and so they were always there to support me and show me how to like be the right kind of athlete and dedicated and into my sport. So, and then there's also I always say Brittany Bach because we share the same uncle. I think a lot of people think we're cousins, but we just have the same uncle, not by blood. But she went to Notre Dame and did that whole thing. So I always wanted to be like her, and whatever she was doing, I kind of just watched and hoped that I could be like her. So it was cool to watch her path, and I just wanted to do the same kind of thing. So those are the people who kind of inspired me.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. That Spirit fan, what question do you have for that Spirit player?
If you were not a professional soccer player, what would you be doing?
Oh, I swear I probably get asked that question like every other hour of the day, but that's a great question. It's really making me think because I'm trying to figure that out right now. I definitely want to play as long as I can and travel as much as I can, but my dad's in real estate, so I think it would be cool to do that, but I don't know if I could see myself in an office building, so coaching would be cool. Maybe teaching. My mom was a teacher, something like that. So I definitely want to go to graduate school, but it's just about figuring out what that exactly would be for. So right now, just focus on soccer and hoping that I'll figure it out sooner or later.
God, Jinker, why you gotta grill our special guests like that? Come on, man. Come on, man.
No, it's good. It's good.
All right, I got a simple question. What hidden talent do you have that none of your teammates or anybody knows about? Or I guess you'll be unveiling it on Off the Post right now.
Oh, man. A hidden talent? I don't know. Soccer is my hidden talent. No,
it's not exactly hidden.
Hidden talent. I guess I got pretty good at cooking this year. I don't know if that's like a talent. That's not really that exciting either, but
What's your favorite food?
Favorite food, Thai food.
Okay, so if you can cook up some Thai food, then we're all coming to Chicago pretty soon. Yeah.
Thai.
Very good, very good. All right, so you all got to know a little bit more about Megan Oyster. She will be selling you houses and teaching and cooking Thai food pretty soon.
I'm all over the place.
Right, all over the place. But from Off the Post, we're all thankful that you came on. We appreciate it. So anytime, you're welcome. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yep, thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, guys. It looks like we're going to jump into some U.S. Women's National Team stuff. Oh, yeah, and look out next week for our next special guest, which I just learned today who it is. Are you a Sky Blue fan or get sick of me always bragging about Sky Blue? Would you like to see a Sky Blue player come on and brag with me? If so, then tune in next week because we will have Nikki Stanton joining us for a little bit of NWSL. Yes, we're doing big things now on Off the Post. All right, guys. So we're going to do our U.S. Women's National Team review, and then we'll call it a day. How about that, right? Sounds good?
Awesome.
All right, so we're going to start with you first. Your expectations going into this game against Costa Rica, considering we've known what happened in the game before, I think expectations changed a bit.
Me?
Don't you agree, Karen?
Yeah. What?
Yes, Karen. What were your expectations going into this game?
What? Let's be real. We were gonna win. That's the first expectation I had. I mean, when you win the first 1-0, I knew we were gonna win. I just didn't know by how much. I didn't know if they were gonna double down and go for like 10 and 11-0, or if they were gonna maybe taper off a little bit, which is what they did. But I expected to see a lot of different lineups. I expected to see players come off the bench, a lot of just like taking these people, putting them there, and taking those people and putting them back onto the field, which is, again, what she did. And I also was expecting / mostly hoping that Costa Rica sort of learned from the 8-0 loss and kind of upped their game, which is also what they did. So.
No, Jen, did you have any expectations after you watched the beatdown in Pittsburgh, as we'll call it from now on?
Live? that you watched live?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I said my expectations for the first game were that Costa Rica was going to show up a little bit more than they did. And even after that beatdown, I was still kind of expecting the same thing. And thankfully, they didn't let me down as much this time. Costa Rica did show up twice. So there's that. But other than that, kind of what I said, just a switch up of players. I expect to see that probably through the majority of the victory tour, just kind of getting everybody some minutes, getting everybody in. I was also expecting exactly what happened with Heyo going out and deciding she was going to be a beast again. So, I'm learning to just anticipate that every game now.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it kind of went as expected. My expectations didn't change a whole lot in between games, so.
Yeah, I think I was the same way. It was more so, I knew it was going to be a blowout or a beatdown. What do we call it? Beatdown specials, we call them usually. It was just that I knew like Costa Rica was going to get the bricks beat off of them. It was just a matter of how badly they were going to get the bricks beat off of them. So it was just like, rather than that, to keep my attention, which was a hard time during the game, it was seeing which players were going to score, which type of goals they were going to score, what type of lines were going to be out there in formation. So I had to look for other stuff because, like I said, we knew what was going to happen scoreline-wise, and it was just a matter of looking for other things to keep my interest throughout the whole game. Like seeing England getting a start or whatever because we didn't get to see her during the World Cup. So that was good for me, I guess. First half, we'll start with you first, Jen Carl. What did you like or what didn't you like? I think there was a lot to like.
Yeah, it was kind of nice to see Tobin Heath get in there with her 100th cap. Good on you, Tobin. And Shoes, she was honored for her 100 cap yesterday. Hers was in May, but she didn't want to be recognized prior to the World Cup. So, good for her for wearing the captain's armband yesterday. It was a cool shout out to the military that was shot too. I'm a little biased. My sister's stationed in Kentucky right now, so nice shout out there. But yeah, I mean, it was a good first half, minus the 84-minute rain delay.
Yep.
That was really unfortunate. But other than that, it was a solid first half. I mean, it was kind of how it should have gone, I guess. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about it.
I think, Kieran, the question I should ask you is what goal did you like out of all the goals? Because there's not much else to say really about a first half with that much dominance.
Well, besides Carly Lloyd's ridiculous free kick, that was awesome. Besides that one, I think the Wambach to Heather O'Reilly goal was my favorite. It was just such a hilarious switching of roles. And even right after she scored the goal, Heyo runs over to Wambach like, what?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, that was funny.
That was so funny. So that's probably just because it's Heather O'Reilly and she's hilarious anyways, but that was my favorite goal because it was just really amusing.
Yeah, it's like, I think that was the one that I thought was funny because it seemed like every time they scored, they were almost just laughing, everybody. That's why it was just.
They're just like.
Oh, I know. It just got to the point where you just knew it was just like, oh, I was going to score, but hey, who wants to score next?
Yeah, there were a couple of times that Carly even, when she scored that one, but it was a foul, and so the ref was kind of confusing about it, and she just they didn't even really celebrate. They just kind of stood up and were like, ah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The non-celebratory times. No one really went over the top. But for me, it was just more so just the first half. The rain delay killed me. Because during that rain delay, I took a nap. I went and got something to eat. I woke up and I messaged Jen and Courtney and them and said, well, I probably won't be up. And they're like, it's going to start in a minute. I'm like, I'll be asleep in a minute. They took too long. And it was just, other than that, I thought the game was going to be about 10-0 or 10-1 because they were just scoring. Costa Rica looked so deflated at one point. And it was just they weren't ready. Their feet were in sand, and this team was just yeah, we're going to keep attacking. Then they let off the brakes a little bit, let off the gas a little bit. And then Costa Rica scored, and it was like, good job for you. You look like a middle school team playing against a varsity team that won state. So good job, you got one goal. But I don't think Hope was too happy about that goal. You know.
She has this. Have you guys noticed the face that she makes when she gets scored on? She like does like a evil, like a sniff, like a, and then just like keeps talking, like whatever.
It was so bad. I saw that face coming. I was like, we need to take a picture now. So.
She's amazing.
That's all right. Ashlyn Harris just yells at people and scares me, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I bet you do see a lot of that. Ashlyn.
Like,
she's like, rah, and then you see Jen behind the goal, like,
Now you guys see how this is pretty much. We're laughing about this game because it's like the breakdown of it is just so blah because it was truly a victory tour game as I've been calling it. I guess we can talk about the second half substitutions. What's that now, Karen?
Costa Rica got 2 goals, and and they were good goals. That second goal was bomb.
So see, they did something right. I mean, is there anything in the second half that interests you? Were you happy with any subs, Jen?
Yeah, it was nice to see Alex Morgan come on in. Just because that says that she's healing okay, and we're always happy to see our players heal up a little bit. Alyssa Nair was a nice one to see go in too. She obviously has not seen any playing time, so it was nice to see her go in. I think Boxy went in for Tobin, so it was kind of cool to see that because again Tobin's trying to kind of squeeze into that role, so it was cool to see the two of them switch off and to see the contrast there and how they can play the same role so differently. And then Press went in, of course. I was kind of upset to not have Christy Rampone go in just because I wanted like another 10-foot shot off of her groin. But
yes.
That's
Good
okay.
night. Good night.
You got the boob shot instead from Alex Morgan.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll take it.
We got the groin shot, and then we got the boob shot. I don't know what's next, but I'm excited about it.
And you see what I have to deal with on a normal basis when I talk to these panelist people. So I'm used to it now. But yeah, I'm not going to comment on those, and I'm just going to let those sit right there. Yeah. Let me just talk about how I felt about the second half. Well, I had lapses in my attention span, so I wasn't paying attention. I just started looking at my phone, started looking up stuff to do on the computer, a little bit of Angry Birds or something to do, because it just got to a point where I couldn't even focus on this game because it was just like you knew what was going to happen. You got to see the subs. I was happy to see Nair get out there. But it was just like the one thing I kept thinking when I was daydreaming is I'm so happy I'm going to be going to see Australia, so it'd be at least a kind of a competitive game. Because if I went to see this game, I probably would just like end up doing something totally different where it would have just been belligerent and just not paying much attention at all. Because there was just no way I would have been able to keep attention and kept focus on a game like that. But props to Costa Rica for coming out and being our victory cigars. We appreciate that.
Hey, and the fans. There were 20,535, I think they said, and it sounded like none of them really left. They might have tapered off like when the lightning came, but then they came back. So props to Chattanooga. That's awesome.
Shout outs to Chattanooga. That's the way to go. I guess we could talk a little bit about the first 2 games of Victory Tour since we had Jen Carl to go there one. Your overall thoughts on the Victory Tour, Jen?
Well, I mean, the first 2 games are a little bit harder to call because, again, it's kind of a beatdown. Yeah, that's tough. I think we might see more interesting games with Australia and Brazil.
Yeah.
But, so far it's been great. I mean, it's been probably what they envisioned the first couple of games of the Victory Tour being. We've had the opportunity to showcase our players. We've had the opportunity to honor some of our players like Choops last night. So, I mean, it's been good to kind of see everybody come together, and even Sid, who's not available to play right now, is still showing up at the open practices. She's still there at the game, so it's really the full team there for the experience, giving that moment to the fans. And it's been phenomenal. We had 44,000 something or other in Pittsburgh. They had over 20,000 yesterday. So it's just been great to see the sport grow like this, and I think the Victory Tour has been kind of a great venue to give back to the fans who have come on either right before the World Cup or during the World Cup or right after the World Cup or whatever. This is a great opportunity for U.S. soccer to kind of give back to them a little bit. So it's been good. enjoyed watching the victory tour so far, and I hope it continues to live up to everybody's expectations.
The beatdown tour. Karen, your thoughts on the first 2 games of the beatdown tour?
I don't think it's going to continue. I think it's going to stop now. I really, really enjoyed the first one, and maybe that's just because I watched it live on TV, and so like I got more into it, and I was like screaming and flailing and stuff. It was exactly what I wanted to see. I got to see all sorts of different goals, and I totally called the Julie Johnston ponytail header. I totally called that goal in that episode before the game. Yeah, thank you. Besides that, it was just exciting to see so many different players get on the field. It was exciting to see Box start that game, and just the way that Jill Ellis has been kind of filtering different players in different roles. It was interesting to see Tobin in holding mid, I think is what she was playing. I couldn't tell really, but it was interesting to see her there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And we also got that really interesting interview between Julie Foudy and Jill Ellis in the halftime of yesterday's game, where she was talking about new faces and things like that. So that was interesting. New faces for the Olympics. So it looks like she's at least looking to see if she can bring in some new faces, at least to the camps. So that'll be interesting to see as the time goes on. But besides that, I think these have been really good 2 first games. I think the next couple of games are probably going to be even more exciting just because we have Australia and Brazil, who are arguably much better, or not arguably much better teams than Costa Rica right now. They have more experienced players for sure. Costa Rica's super young. I think the goalkeeper they subbed on yesterday was like 18 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you just gotta expect that from a team like Costa Rica. But they brought it for who they were. But Australia is gonna be crazy tough, and I think Brazil is gonna be crazy tough, even though they underperformed at the World Cup. So they're gonna want to prove something, I think. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
All right, let me throw a penny on that 2 cents real quick. For me, it was truly a victory tour. It was destroy the competition, laugh, joke, have a good time, do backflips, score random ponytail headers or whatever you're going to score, balls flying off of locations and I'm not allowed to speak of, and just have a good time. So it was truly a victory tour. I won't lie, I can't wait for the more competitive games because I was always one of the guys back in the day when we would play teams like Russia and beat them like 20-0, and I would be like, I want to see us play real competition. Even if it's a victory tour, I would love to see better competition. So I'm glad I'm going to the Australia game, and then lucky for you guys that we'll get to see the Brazil game. It's been great. This is a good way to start off. Beat some bad teams, have a good time. But it makes you appreciate score lines like 2-0 against China in the World Cup a bit more, because it was like, wow, the game is probably a lot more competitive, even though China was parking the bus for 90 minutes than watching some of these games now. But so it was good. I mean, it was a victory tour. What do you expect? So, all right, guys, do you have any rants, Karen?
No, not really. I'm too tired to rant.
Yeah, I was feeling the same way today. Jen Curl, any rants?
No, I'm in a pretty good mood.
Yeah, I think I was feeling the same way today, where it's like there's no rants. I have a ton of stuff I'm angry about, Jen, But then it's like, no, that was a good episode. We had a player on and stuff. I'm sorry, I'm talking to you guys, the people watching, I'll talk about this.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Oyster, thank you. We all were truthful about the spirit. We've all been good on the spirit, so that was good. Glad you guys liked the episode. Make sure to tune in next week because it's going to be Sky Blue episode. And I think aren't you guys going to be on that episode? I think it is Jen Carl and Karen. Jen Carl and Karen are just meeting everyone now. They're going to be.
I know.
What's that, Jen?
I know. It's crazy. It's like I'm just. You would think I have no life. I swear, I have a life. I do things, I promise.
The life that I do.
But the thing is, you guys are going to be like the most popular panelists in NWSL. You go to the game, they're like, oh, Megan's going to see you. Like, oh, Jen, I remember, I was in an episode with you. I'm like, what?
I live in California. I don't go to NWSL games.
No, you're like me. I guess we'll just be popular from afar.
I go to them on YouTube.
Right. They'll just know us by YouTube, right? That's all, at Facebook.
It's fine.
It's all right. We'll get to it.
I'm a lot shorter in person, so I don't.
I want to see how short she is now that she said that. But we'll talk about that another time. I'm your host, DJ Redcap. You will see me in Chicago this week with the winner. If you see me, like I said, walk over to me. If you're a Flash fan, then get ready. We'll tune in next week. We'll be back on the 25th, and we'll talk to you guys then. You know what to do, people. Let's wave a little bit, and we'll take off. Bye-bye. You know you love the episode, so bye-bye. Bye-bye.